Welcome, all you unique manifestations of the oneness. This is Earth, Sun, Human. I'm your human design translator, Isa Silver, and today I am exploring the polarity, the tension in humanity and in the air right now between emotional principles and logical theses. Can you hear the difference? An emotional principle. What is that? Well, we know it's emotional and it's always changing and there's a lot of energy in it. That's for sure. But what about a thesis? What about a logical concept up in the concept center? It's about the future. It's based on a pattern. It might be alluring because it might seem like the pattern is accurate, but it doesn't have any energy behind it. It doesn't take care of people. It makes predictions about the future. And today I am a somewhat logical creature being accompanied by an emotional being, an emotional manifester. Connor is back here with me. And you might know Connor as a teacher of Living Your Design and someone who's been exploring quite deeply his human design experiment in recent years. And one thing that we want to talk about together today is Mr. Ra Uru Hu himself, that ego manifester with splenic authority. And guess what? He carries both the gates of principles, his unconscious emotional activation, principles for the tribe, and also an unconscious gate for unconscious logical formulas to express. So let's get into this polarity. Where's the sun? In the gate of principles, emotional principles that are the energy and also the decider potentially about who gets resources in the tribe. This is also the gate of the butcher, the one who knows that there are ones in the tribe, maybe they're sheep, who need to be sacrificed. This is the beginning, or we could say the spirituality behind animism and the relationship between humans and the mammals that they've been eating. And this relationship is changing. But I won't get I will try not to get too deep into those details right now. But understand that this is a ratcheting emotional energy. It really explodes when the need is great. But it starts, the foundation, the introspective frequency of emotional principles is realism. The realism which only supports viable principles. Because emotional principles can be off kilter, right? They can be helter-skelter. But realism, the introspection, the investigation around emotional principles is the foundation. The natural frequency of this is exploring, to explore all possibilities before attempting revolution. Revolution is another keynote here. The emotional energy that can explode the tribe into something new. And in fact, the third line is called revolution here. It's about revolution against antiquated principles. If the emotional principles are not serving the tribe, then we got to get rid of them, says the one who would scream for revolution here. But that third line, it's not transpersonal yet. It's just bumping up against the waves around emotional relating. But the fourth line does become aware of the other. We could have, remember this is a potential, justice here, the sensitivity to the needs of society. That first line isn't aware of the society, but this fourth line is. The sensitivity to the needs of the society. Of course, the shadow here means not really potentially meeting them, just giving them empty promises is what someone might do there. But the fifth line, well, this is where the culture, where the collective is projecting on the one with the emotional principles. You have what we need. You can organize the necessary reforms. Ra Uru Hu's unconscious Venus. Reforms, the organization of necessary reforms. How does this need to be better for the tribe based on our emotional principles? This is not logical, and it's not about staying alive. You know what's about staying alive is the mirror gate to 49, gate 32, I carry it, unconscious. That's a instinct to keep the tribe alive. This is an instinct to, well, not an instinct, it's an emotional awareness potential about who is in the tribe and who isn't and what belongs here or not. Okay, enough about the fifth line. We'll talk about Ra a little later. When we come out of the hexagram, so to speak, onto the sixth line, we get attraction. This one is just living the emotional principles. And in living the emotional principle, finding attraction for the revolution that they represent. On the bright side here is Neptune, the innate power of motivation that turns fence sitters into committed comrades in arms during change. We are all on this emotional team together, and our needs are going to be met in this way. But on the shadow, Saturn, stubborn rejectionism that does not only reject existing principles, you know, that sixth line up there telling everyone how it should be, that hypocrite, but that hypocrite also rejecting the people and therefore not finding support, as the sixth line can do. The sixth line assumes it's alone. It sure does seem that way. And what is the balancing force of that attraction in the sixth line, the role model of emotional principles? It's patience. It's logical patience. It's the role model of waiting to know what the logical formula is. The potential is recognizing that understanding is not yet complete. Logical understanding, in fact, is it ever? That's really the question. Is logical understanding ever really complete? Because the role model is here to recognize that it's not. And guess what the heretic does? Guess what the seducer does? Seduction. To harness formulas through seduction. Is logic really seducing? Does it really make us think that we know what might happen? This is what the collective wants to see from logical formulas. Tell us what's going to happen. And you know what the fifth line does with that? That's what the collective wants to see. What does the fourth line think it's supposed to do? It's supposed to be the formula. It's going to play the role. Role playing is a really euphemistic term here, or maybe it's more realistic, but you know what Ra called it? He called it the liar, the one who is externalizing the formula. But there aren't any details here. Do you realize that this pressure here, actually it's not even a pressure, it's a concept. It's a concept. So the concept, externalizing the concept, could be called the liar. It could be called role playing, imaginative role play, elevated to an art form. The potential to create imaginative ideas and put them out there, and people believe them. They believe your role. Now, on the non-transpersonal side here, coming down into the third line, into the personal experience of having a thesis. Ra carried this as his unconscious Saturn. Irresponsibility, he even called it that. The potential here is to content oneself with superficial formulas. These formulas aren't aware of the other side. The role player is aware of externalizing the formula. The irresponsible one is not. But they are materializing it, right? They're getting it out in a way that the second line doesn't bother. The second line just realizes that not everyone can understand. Not everyone is going to get the formula. They're a natural at it, maybe. or at least it looks to other people like they are a natural at the logical formula. But really, they're just going to kind of notice that some people are going to get it and other people are not. And then there's the foundation of the logical thesis. It's called folly. And youthful folly. Youthful folly is the keynote in the traditional I Ching. So what is youthful folly? It's thinking that you know what's going to happen. And you can even be ignorant of it, but still have this sense that, well, that there's a logical way. So at the foundation of logical theses about the future is that understanding. It's understanding that understanding depends on the right timing. You can't know what you need to know about the future before you know it. But don't we want to be seduced into knowing the future? The fifth line, tell us what's going to happen. And you know what they do? They let you pretend that they know. But the foundation, the solid one about the theses, the one who really understands what a logical formula is, they know it's just folly. They know that you can't understand until the right time, the perfect timing. And thank you to 64 Keys and also Ra Uru Hu for the keynotes. And here's me, Isa Silver, your human design translator, ready to educate and empower you and support you with information about you, about your partners, about your family members. Wherever human design can logically support you, I'd like to be there. Until next time.